in Alex Ladomas' room. Today, she marries Alex Ladomas, despite his family's history of abuse. She is resented by family members who think she wants their money. Grace longs to marry Alex and have children. Alex promises to cancel before the wedding. Grace kisses him, reassuring him. Grace's garden wedding photos followed. Here, the odd Ladomas clan includes creepy Aunt Helene and rude Uncle George. Daniel's elder brother and sister-in-law are Tony and Becky. After meeting most of the supporting actors, we may continue the story. The joyful couple enters the ceremony. After drinking, they rest in Daniel's room. Are you enjoying this video? Click that sexy subscribe button. Grace thought they could spend some time alone, but just as she did, Aunt Helene's appearance confirms the clan's arrival. Alex, feeling Grace's confusion, explains the Ladomas family's habit to legally adopt a new family member at 12 in the morning following the wedding. Grace, the newcomer, must play a game with the family, honoring the Ladomas family's pioneering board game enterprise. Grace appears excited. She joins the family in the music room. Becky, Alex's mother, urges Grace to convince him to stay faithful to the clan and take his position at the family's helm. Ladomas' dominance, familial legacy. Grace accepts, confused. Emily, Alex's sister, uses crack. Besides her opportunist husband Fitch and their 2 new children, Tony Ladomas prepares the youngsters for the game after a servant tucks them in. Chamber discusses game rules and family history. In sum, they think Mr. LaBelle gave their grandfather, Victor Ladomas, a supernatural artifact box. After this, Mr. Giantfort gave a lot to Ladomas. In honor of Mr. LaBelle, they play games with this box when they come together. Anticipating a newborn, inserting a blank card and following the guidelines is simple. To the box, where Mr. LaBelle selected the evening's game. Grace should read the card now. Alex's face and environment change. Grace, who is blissfully unaware of her destiny, is instructed to hide. Everyone else should count to 100 and play hide and seek. Tony Ladomas convinces her they are going to deactivate surveillance equipment as they value ritual and don't recreate the old gameplay. Grace retreats into shadows as Alex's family buys vintage guns. Alex searches the gaming area as Grace hides in the dumbwaiter. Torn, stay in the room as the family searches for Grace. Alex's escape is Charity's responsibility. Charity was unaware. Alex will escape via the maid's wing. After entering the home, Charity finds Alex gone. The dumbwaiter is agitating Grace. She escapes a servant hunting for a child who slipped out of bed at night. But then, Alex rescues her before the servant searching for the missing child arrives. Even so, Emily shooting and killing the maid devastates Grace. Ladomas clan probes, body and scold Emily for killing the bridesmaid. They remain till the family removes the body. Alex hastily blames Grace for everything, playing hide and seek with the family and persuading them to kill Grace before sunrise, or misfortune would strike, infiltrating the maid's chamber. Grace balls. Alex acknowledges that he misjudged her ability. The card is unlikely. He told her he preferred life. He believed he could console Grace by living with her unmarried. He proposed since he knew she desired a serious relationship. He will honor her trust. He tells her to use the kitchen while he uses the bathroom. Security office to unlock all doors. Grace vows to remove her wedding dress skirt to help her go down the aisle. After this corridor, she chooses the left door. She turns around and rushes back to frightened Emily, who fires blindly. Grace avoids the errant gunfire. Grace tries to go but discovers no escape. She cowers against the wall, desperate, and suddenly, Alex's brother Daniel calls. He gladly passes by her and snatches the billiard table booze. He promises not to hurt her. Need the gang to seize her. Grace escapes as Daniel yells. After counting, each family member enters the research to find. Naturally, Grace fled the premises. A maidservant surprises Emily, mistakenly kills her again. Helene Ladomas, exasperated, says that they only have murder Grace till dawn. Becky advises ditching the ritual to save time, using surveillance cameras. They agreed to split. Grace gets a firearm in the arcade. She awaits Alex's kitchen door opening. Grace disappears as the butler enters. Alex penetrated the control room and restarted the cameras. He cannot open the doors. Grace gingerly reloads the shotgun while concealed. As the maid serves tea, Alex unlocks locks using codes. Grace is behind the butler when he hears this, readying the shotgun. She fires, but nothing happens. Butler casually shares. The ammunition is for display only. The teapot strikes him. Tony Ladomas, Alex's father, knocks and bangs on the door. Alex attempts to sabotage the security camera's control panel. Tony rushes in to assault Alex, but Alex easily defeats him. After calming down, Alex begs Daniel to help Grace. Before Daniel responds, Grace anxiously searches the passageways for a hiding place. She finds a scared maid or butler in the dumbwaiter. The servant hurries forward and shouts Grace's whereabouts. The dumbwaiter button, killing the servant. Grace, run again. We find Alex still unconscious in his bedroom, handcuffed to the bed. Alex's Aunt Helene believes he will change. He can help his sweetheart after he discovers he is the future Ladomas leader. Grace listens from the window. She jumps, landing lightly in the woods. Are you enjoying this video? Click that sexy subscribe button. She sprints outside. If a spotlight is seen, she hides in a barn. Georgie, Emily's only child. Finally, Grace appears, but Grace knocks the youngster unconscious in her rage. The goat zaps her. Ditch out. Grace sees dead corpses. She hobbles up, gagging at the stink. As she nears the top, the ladder collapses. To grasp her injured hand, she touches a nail. Despite the pain, she climbs out of the ditch and walks. She removes her sleeve to bandage her hand. Charity shot her as she fled the barn but missed. She then tells the butler where Grace is. Grace approaches the barrier and sees a car coming. Screaming for help, she escapes. The car drives off as she departs. Grace runs into the woods as a car leaves the Ladomas driveway. Turns out, the butler immediately informs his employer of Grace's absence. Tony Ladomas and his family have realized they will all die unless Grace is killed before morning. Unlike his siblings, much to Dad's dismay, Daniel rejects such superstition. He enters and Tony suspects his son Daniel's loyalty following a fight. Alex Ladomas wakes up and struggles to unlock the door. Daniel and Emily remove the dead servants from the barn. In a talk with Daniel, Emily disagrees that the family deserves to perish. Grace has emerged from hiding and is rushing across a field. When the butler arrived, Grace must be brought in alive. He fights her outside the car. She suffocates him with a shredded shirt. She drives away. Grace calls 911 for police help while driving. The operator fulfills her request and informs her that the car is broken. Since her automobile was stolen, corporate regulations prohibit her from driving it. Suggests he must stop her driving. The car stops. Grace relaxes, finding comfort in the idea that 911 was called and police are coming. Even so, after waking up, the butler jabs Grace with sedatives, knocking her asleep. The butler wakes Grace while driving and video chatting with her family. Grace repeatedly hits him in the head, knocking him out and wrecking the car. She survives. Daniel approaches her after arriving, by shotgun. He wants to rescue her, but is too weak. Against his family, she strives to debunk the curse. Nobody died overnight. Daniel regrets knocking her unconscious. Tony appears. Tony had secretly followed Daniel here to see them. Daniel's loyalty test. Becky, Alex's mom, visits him in shackles. Stated she is convinced he will quit helping Grace and help the family. Alex says he would fight for Grace as long as she is nice. He is not crazy like his family. The family is preparing for Grace's ritualistic murder by LaBelle. Grace awakens constrained at the table as her family performs a satanic ritual. They share a chalice. Tony stabs Grace. What then? Daniel may have poisoned his family for Grace. He unbinds her and walks her away. Alex escapes the bedroom. Charity, Daniel's wife, stops them from fleeing in the halls. Someone points a firearm at them. Grace, knowing Daniel would keep her, Charity's next shot kills him. Grace, furious, confronts. Charity knocks her out before checking on life-supporting Daniel. He releases her. After Grace keeps going, Tony Ladomas, the father, confronts her. She grabs a lamp, knocks him out, and throws it. Ground and fleeing. Alex searches for Grace but discovers his dying brother. He grieves as Daniel dies in his arms. Grace fights Becky, the mother, in the dining room. Grace murders her by beating her in the head. When Alex arrives, Alex reaches out to Grace, distressed. After her mother and brother died, Alex was enraged and changed her life. Sides, the family is preparing to redo the ritual. They were unaware that the bulb started the fire. Throughout the estate, Alex tries to stab Grace in the chest when they hold her on the dining room table. Grace swerves and escapes. She has a sunny window, signaling dawn and their end. Other clan members dread the curse and scream in sunshine. Ladomas appear fine. Aunt Helene insists Grace be executed. She bursts with an axe. After Helene, all Ladomas died. Randomly explodes. Grace giggles uncontrollably as Alex approaches like a scared child. Seeking comfort, Grace already dislikes. She wants a break from him. A blurry guy briefly emerges at the table. Mr. LaBelle. Bloody, dirty. Grace smokes on the porch after leaving the burning house. I do not know, she says when the cops arrive. Watch till the end. You won't want to miss the shocking and satisfying ending. The film opens with 28-year-old Lucy Hutton at her desk at Bexley and Gaiman Publishing. The co-CEOs, Helene Pascal and Richard Bexley, are assisted by Joshua Templeman. Lucy says her hatred of Joshua Templeman is her most significant trait. Lucy Hutton dislikes Joshua Templeman. After Josh, her archenemy, entered a race, Lucy did something at work. Both assistants dislike and distrust each other. Lucy is thinking about how to beat Joshua at work and how she can handle everything. And she looks at Joshua and thinks that all he wears is blue. She counts the days in her head and sees that he has worn light blue. Are you enjoying this video? Click that sexy subscribe button. You would be helping me continue to create more sexy movie recaps just like this for you. Tea blue, medium blue, and Savoy blue. She is disturbed by the thought that she should hate him and gets back to work in the next scene. Smiles because neither of them wants the other to win. At that moment, she thought of how she could defeat him, and all she could think about was him. And she wanted him to regret messing up with her, just like his work and behavior messed up her mind. So she started making plans and thinking about how to make certain plans work after intensifying her rivalry with Josh. Lucy returns. She contacts her mother after a Josh-related sexual fantasy. Her mother encourages her to locate a guy if she is going out for the weekend. Lucy claims she is going out with friends, so her mother wonders why she is not going out with that workman she always brags about. Lucy sleeps to figure out why she thinks about Josh. She awakens from a Josh-related sexual dream. She dresses for work to attract him. Short black dress. Josh sees her, grins, and asks if she has a date. She informs him that she has a date. She lies again to Joshua about her destination. Lucy feels worse when Josh says he is heading there too. He asks her whether anybody from the workplace is present, but she is dressed to impress Josh. Lucy walks downstairs and begs Josh, who secretly loves Lucy's designer, Danny, to go out with her since he does not believe her in the black dress. She walks to the cafe when Josh asks if she wants a ride. Josh looks at her high heels and warns her that walking in them may damage her delicate tiny feet. Lucy is furious until she sees him. Josh kisses her in the elevator when they meet. Both exit the elevator. Josh takes her off to a cafe, where Danny awaits. Lucy refuses Josh's umbrella since it is pouring and leaps out of the vehicle. Josh ruins Lucy's night. Danny, but she thinks about the kiss while going to the restroom. She rants at Josh for spoiling her night and obsesses about how men can exploit her. He compliments her black clothing. Josh says he is going to return her luggage. That night, he insists on accompanying her to her date, which she is shocked to adore, but she still goes out with Danny and is upset with Josh for spoiling her night. The next day, she searches Joshua's desk for evidence. She cannot decipher his day planner codes. Lucy's mailman gives her a Smurf. Lucy checks Joshua's desk after he tells her she worries too much about others' opinions. Joshua mocks her strawberry farm upbringing, making her homesick and lonely. "You are always gorgeous" is written on her flowers the following day. She believes Danny sent her the flowers and is pleased at work. She agrees to forget the kiss from the night before when Josh asks. She replies, "Why do not we just play?" Josh interrupts and tells her that she is dull and that he has always gotten raises with paintball game plans. "Okay, let us play a gun game," Lucy replies after a glimpse of Josh choking to death. Lucy and Josh paintball. Josh's plan is implemented the following day, and everyone at work plays paintball to bond. Lucy appears pale before the game, and Josh examines her and says she is burning, but she ignores him and plays. Josh hides his concern as Lucy vomits on him. He takes her home when she is terribly ill. Joshua gets her home. He remains because no one else can care for her. She urges him to go, but he calms her, and she vomits up again. Since Josh's family are physicians, he calls his brother to check on Lucy. Josh's brother advises him to relax and gives Lucy medication. Joshua asks Patrick, his medical brother, to look at Lucy. Are you enjoying this video? Click that sexy subscribe button. You would be helping me continue to create more sexy movie recaps just like this for you. Patrick gets Joshua to attend the wedding with Lucy. Joshua beds Lucy after the wedding. Josh cooks and cleans her home the following morning, so she does not dislike him. Josh leaves after Lucy urges him not to use such techniques against her at work. Danny accompanies Lucy to her workplace with flowers. After Danny departs, she notices strawberry juice on her table, something she informed Joshua night she required while unwell. Joshua spends extra time with Lucy since she is ill. Lucy knows she likes him. Joshua is furious when he kisses her on the cheek and urges her to suffer that night. She discovers Josh gave her the flower earlier in the week when she finds the juice and card on the table. She regrets telling everyone that Danny gave her all the roses. She asks Josh whether she may repay him by attending his brother's wedding. She tears up when he refuses. Danny and Lucy kiss, but Lucy feels nothing, so they remain friends. After crossing paths on the sidewalk, she and Joshua kiss on his street after she says no one can kiss her like him. He tells her he will not have sex with her because he needs more time. She hangs up on Joshua. Joshua, after work, he calls her back and suggests she stay at his apartment. Joshua touches her again without kissing her. Joshua informs Mr. Bexley that he does not require aid in unseating Lucy for the position since he feels exploited. Joshua is furious when he meets Danny for coffee to discuss her interview presentation. Joshua instructs Danny to bring her weekend bag to work the day they depart for the wedding. Lucy worries about what Joshua and Mr. Beckley are fighting over after overhearing them. Lucy and Joshua play and discuss their attraction on the way to the wedding. Lucy tells Joshua that she had a sexual dream about him and had to negotiate her way out of that first date with Danny because she lied about seeing someone. Joshua and Lucy are having fun at the hotel when Joshua's mother, Helene, calls for wedding decorating assistance. Joshua returns to Lucy sleeping. Joshua tells Lucy that ladies first attracted him for his appearance, but moved on to a wonderful person after getting to know him, Joshua. The wedding guests were unhappy. Lucy discovers that Mindy, the bride, was Joshua's ex-girlfriend. She was probably his rent-a-date. Elaine informs Lucy that she is different from everyone else. Joshua convinces Lucy to stay by saying he does not need Indy's moral support. Instead, his father, Anthony, shattered his heart and sought help. She had her finest sex that night. They had sex again in the shower during the wedding breakfast the following morning. Lucy defends Joshua and praises him to Anthony. Joshua and Lucy return to town. Joshua claims they have always been in love. His bedroom was painted with Lucy's eyes. Lucy gives flattered when she sees that painting, and at that moment Josh tells her that he loves her and wants to end the fights and get together, but Lucy gets weird about it and says that work will come in between, so Josh calms her down and asks her to relax and not think about anything else but them. So they both agree to start over that night. The next day, Lucy overhears and misinterprets a conversation between Josh and their boss, including that Josh has been using their romance to distract her from the promotion. Enraged, she vows to beat Josh for the job. She goes back to Danny and talks about how she believes that Josh is telling the truth and thinks he loves her. Still, the truth is he does love her, and all he can think about is Lucy, only that there is a plan, and he was pretending about that conversation with CEO. So after a tough competition, everyone is gathered in the hall, and as Lucy goes there, she thinks that Josh has become the new operation director, but instead informs her that he is switching positions and that she will take over as Bexley and Gannon's new CEO. In the end, she is on a call and is arguing about her writers with someone. It turns out that on the phone is Josh, and he is taking her out on a date. They kiss.
Marcus gets injured by this swarm. Tether. The shuttle pulls Brian's cable, killing him. Brian tries to call Marcus after returning to the shuttle, but the systems are down. He misses the swarm while returning to Earth. Moon holes. Brian saves the ship and is lauded. After a year and a half of research, no one believes him, and Jacinda cannot help him. She was exhausted. NASA fired Brian. Brenda and Sunny live with Brenda's mother after losing their house. Casey Houseman sneaks into the desk computers at the University of California after 10 years as a janitor. He calls Chile's National Observatory as a professor to seek a moon orbit file. He then works briefly as a fast food cashier. He checks the telescope's email. He was right. The moon is nearing Earth. NASA ignores his medical calls. The only public phone line connects to NASA's souvenir shop, not management. Jacinda works early. After instructing Michelle, she headed to the grocery store, visits the Space Center, and finds the moon's trajectory changed. Their moon satellite discovered unusual energy. Crater floor hole. Casey travels to the museum after seeing Astronaut Day on the newspaper his cat peed on. He takes a school trip. Casey argues. He thinks the moon is hollow and alien-built by his owner, who claimed he owed months of rent. Brian escapes via a window and goes to the museum, where Casey quickly presents his discoveries. Since Brian does not trust him, security removes him. Casey says goodbye. Brian catches and throws his study materials. Brenda calls Brian to turn on Sunny. His high-speed police chase grabbed headlines. A few days later, Brian destroys Sunny's hearing by over-talking. He lied for his child. The judge must jail Sunny until the hearing. Brian then calls Brenda's new husband, Tom, who pays the bills, to quarrel, to discuss the council. Kate tells his mother in retirement that nobody cares. Listen, so she will not forget. Jacinda shows NASA Deputy Director Albert Hutchings their latest findings. The moon's irregular trajectory means debris will hit Earth in 3 weeks. Will land. Jacinda wants to return to the moon, but Albert wants silence until they find a solution. The request is too late, as an unknown source put the content online. The court denies Brian's bride to release his child. Due to the news, many are departing the city, leaving him little time to communicate. Brian's unaware. Albert announces a lunar probe on TV. No worries, we are scouting. Brenda wants Sunny released, while Tom wants to leave the city. Tom's lawyer will release him to Colorado if he lies. Them. NASA satellites track crowds, riots, and looting globally. Diagnostic SLS Block 2. Post-announcement newscasts examine plots. Big buildings. Brian returns to the museum for trash. After locating Casey's paperwork, he checks Casey's website and finds a meeting he must schedule immediately. NASA sends a probe down the hole. Jocinda's dark swarm comes as the computers show the moon's course altering again. Mission eliminates SL's residence. Brian spots Casey during Casey's hotel conference. Conspiracy thinkers who cannot distinguish truth from nonsense. Brian explains at a restaurant why Casey knew before NASA. Casey has spent years searching faraway worlds for megastructures. Moon surprise. The megastructure inside the moon must have changed course. High seas and storm surges in coastal communities raise concerns about the moon's changing effects on Earth. Conventioneers are stranded by city floods. Brian guards them upstairs. Casey is rescued by Brian. Remove him. The mission video convinces Jocinda and Albert that the swarm is communicating. Smart is AI. Jocinda succeeds Albert, a deputy. This behavior intrigues Jocinda. Albert authorizes her research. NASA's restricted area reveals Jocinda's prior voyage video. Brian was truthful, the swarm that attacked them is still there. Now, NASA veteran Holden Field addresses her questions. Apollo 11's 1969 moon landing was silent. Officially, yes. Mission Control cut the string to conceal the moon. NASA analyzed the moon's flashing lights. Because that technology was years ahead of Earth's, and they were not sure it was real. Prevent it. Money killed Zulu X-Ray 7, a military experiment. Jocinda begs the troop commanders for a solution, but they say they already have one. She warns her ex-husband, General Dove Davidson, against nuclear delivery. Even if the explosion kills everyone, Doug trusts his employees, dismisses her. She will not leave work to meet him and Jimmy at his apartment. Issues occur. She wants Doug to bring the Zulu X-Ray 7, which has EMP and is their last chance. If she promises to return with Jimmy and Doug, he agrees. Later, Brian takes a military chopper to his hotel. Remove Casey. I do not know what to do, Casey admits as Jocinda repeats what they already know. He uploaded the news. Jocinda wants Brian because this AI swarm can recognize Earth technology. No shuttle pilot has landed powerless. If his child is liberated, Brian agrees. The station safely. The museum gives the team a decommissioned ship. Bring EMP. Unexpected earthquakes and explosions happen globally. Even close, the moon lacks gravity. Casey's megastructure idea was confirmed again. NASA's military teaches Brian EMP launches. Demonstrates how a guide will calculate by hand without a machine. Since technology fails, they will come by automobile. The base earthquake damages the shuttle. Since planes require engines, Jocinda thanks everyone. They labored before leaving. Jocinda leaves when she sees Casey counting. Launching the moon's gravity will approach 80% of Earth's. The moon's gravity can launch a rocket, providing a boost for the damaged engine. Jocinda co-pilots Brian. Casey will navigate and conduct math after shutting off gadgets. Casey calls Jocinda his mama. Michelle visits Doug. Brian arms Sunny. A powerful gravity wave destroys the base as the three launch. Before the spaceship drowns, Brian pulls it away. Enough to lure the spaceship to the moon. Off Earth. Nearby satellites power the ship. Case selfies throughout. Hurry while the moon grows. Brian personally ignites the engines toward the moon. Space debris hit the shuttle. Armed men stop Michelle and the boys on the road. Car thieves. Sunny conceals the gun in the snow before the criminals kidnap him and his friends. Jimmy's phone is stolen to prevent bunker calls to Doug. Sunny gets them a car at his mother's. The moon's proximity worsens falling moon pieces. Michelle and the boys hide in a shack until the weather improves. It goes. After the shuttle approaches the moon, Brian activates the EMP in the rover before baiting the spacecraft. A swarm ignores the rover. Shuttle pursuit. Brian smashes it, fearing the EMP is watching. The swarm attacks the ship. Following the discovery, Brian destroys Casey's phone. Leave now. Jocinda finds that it targeted them, not the EMP. Artificial settings have biological matter. Shuttle flights to the moon take 2 hours. If it failed, the military would launch nuclear missiles. Michelle and the boys arrive when Earth's wind ceases. They were shot outside his home by neighboring gunmen. Tom gets them after hearing they've arrived. Sonny has little time to meet his mother and half-sisters since he needs to urge everyone to go. The fire station provides oxygen tanks for safety. Earth suffers from the moon's atmospheric depletion. Sonny is ready for Jeek thieves this time. Before leaving in Tom's car, he kidnaps someone using Brian's revolver. The spaceship enters the moon's crater following the EMP. Casey was correct. The moon is a huge skyscraper. Power center. The shuttle emerges to EMP the swarm. Moves alone. They escape the swarm when a door opens and a light comes on. Shuttle in, close the door, and leave the swarm outside. The shuttle crashes, knocking out the 3 passengers. The same light scans them as the shuttle opens. After too long, the military is ready to unleash nuclear weapons. Tom fires at the thieves as Sonny stays clear of debris. When the ground opens, Sonny escapes. Doug calls to say he cannot after they depart. After the rocket launch, they must stay. Oxygen depletes and birds die. The family wears masks before walking. Jacinda and Casey wake up to the moon's gravity and breathe. Brian is nowhere. Casey thinks it is a trap, but they leave via the door. One of Jacinda's 2 spirits is trying to escape. Aid them. Brian awakens in a strange room and chats with an ice ghost. With him, like mimicking Sonny to explain. Billion-year-old people enjoy technology. Earth has not considered. Then their AI revolted. Nanotechnology swarms pursue everyone. The moon-like spaceship transported ancestors. Only Earth could support life at the optimal distance from the sun. The moon's AI connecting with Brian needs personnel. To re-orbit the moon, groups must exit the core. Brian flees the strange light as Jacinda and Casey find him. After the AI fixes something, Brian tells his friends about the fight. The EMP is stronger and can destroy the swarm. Brian plans the nukes last 10 minutes. Tom brings his daughter's empty oxygen tank to Earth and tells her to continue. Tom dies without her. Sonny helps the girl locate her family, but not Tom. When air slowly returns, Sonny gets caught by falling stones as the moon approaches Earth. Michelle rushes to help him escape. The moon reunites them when she finds him under a fallen tree. Return to Brenda and the daughters after jumping over the broken bridge. The moon's weight destroys cities worldwide, so the military attacks. Use nukes. Doug hesitates, trusting his wife. Conserves Earth. Bombs destroyed the bunker. Trash too. Brian fools the swarm by building a tunnel and instructing Casey to prepare the EMP in the rover. Since the swarm requires an energy building to survive, he remains with the EMP while his friends escape in the spaceship. Casey leads as Jacinda and Brian dispute. The EMP bound him to the sacrifice. As he departs, he apologizes and asks them to tell his mom he is a hero. Brian respects physicians by calling. After the swarm consumes the rover, Casey explodes. The EMP, which kills it when Jacinda lands the ship on Earth. The moon and weather stabilize once the swarm leaves. Earth's normalized. Jacinda and Brian leave the shuttle for a wrecked and snowed in New York. Military planes return them home. The friendly AI hunting for Casey is talking to Casey on the moon. It maintained Casey's awareness and made him behave like his mother. He can help the AI rebuild for a better future as a moonling.